Peace family, and welcome to this first edition of Reading and Writing in the Dark. I am your host, Ayapo Yapa. I am a writer and a cartoonist, illustrator, and I like to compose music, and I'm teaching myself how to juggle again. I used to be able to juggle pretty well, and now I want to get my coordination back and get back to it anyway. I am a writer, and oddly, I have become an avid reader. I have to admit that before I was not. I would read from time to time for enjoyment. However, I wasn't like this voracious reader. But now I find that I would prefer reading than watching anything. I actually feel like if I'm watching something, I'm literally thinking I could be reading something or reading some work. So I have become a pretty voracious reader, and that even surprises myself, because I didn't think that I liked reading or enjoyed reading. But no, I'm finding that I'm really enjoying it more. And I think it's probably in part due to the fact that I'm writing more. And I love writing. So what this podcast is for, what this channel is about, because I will be doing videos on it also, where you'll see my face, is for, again, avid Black readers and Black writers. Hopefully pro-Black readers and pro-Black writers, but even if you're not, is for Black people. And I don't feel that there's anything wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I think there's something incredibly right about that. So for my part, I will talk about books that I have read, and I'll review them. I will also discuss projects that I'm working on, projects I've completed, and so on. Anyone who follows the Drapetomaniac podcast, of which I also am the host, along with my beautiful wife, Angela, will know that in the background, I don't have like a soundproof room or anything. So every now and then you may hear traffic go by, or hear in like loud traffic, or some horn honking, or even some child in the background talking, or someone in the background. But I apologize for that in advance, but it just is what it is. I really love where I am, and I love it. Anyway, again, I'll review books and discuss what I'm working on presently. I have completed 4 books. The first to come out and is already out for pre-sale is called Melanin, a novel, and it is for sale on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, and it can also be found at Goodreads, though Goodreads will likely just point you back to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. But Goodreads is a strong platform for people who enjoy reading and coming together to discuss books and so on. Melanin, a short synopsis of Melanin would be basically that it takes place in a world where, due to man-made radiological catastrophes, the population starts to develop this highly virulent form of melanoma, but it's only the non-Black people in the population who are getting it, and is killing them off. And the only hope is to become phenotypically, genetically Black. And so that's basically the starting premise of the story. That isn't even the whole story. It's just the beginning premise. So as the story progresses, there are a lot of twists and turns. I guarantee that there's a lot of the unexpected and even there'll be like plenty of surprises in it. The book can be found, like I said, Amazon or Barnes and Noble for pre-sale. But if you would, then you can go to ayapoyapa.com. That is my author's website. And on that site, you will see my books. You will see upcoming books that I'm working on, and the synopses of the different books. As far as Melanin goes, when you click on that, it gives you a link to be able to do the pre-purchase. And there's also a link that has an excerpt of the book. I think it's chapter 2, the complete chapter 2 of the book. And you can read that and see if that intrigues you. And I can almost guarantee you it will. So there's that. And then I have my upcoming books, Paradigm Void, which I've already completed. The Redemption of Maxine Ellison, also completed. And another novel, And What of the Cargo, also completed. And I've written all 4 of those books just this year, if you can believe that. I think I started Melanin maybe in November of last year, but completed it around, I think, April of this year, something like that. And the other books, I completed just this year, if you can believe that. I have really become a productive writer. I'm spending less time on social media and more time writing. And I understand why someone like a Sister Ajali, who wrote This Black and Furnace of Affliction, and is now finishing up the sequel to This Black, doesn't spend a whole lot of time on social media, because sitting down and writing is a thing. You have to do it. And I'm finding that writing is like reading. You have to do it. Unlike something like music or looking at someone's video, listening to someone's video or something like that, there's times that I'll be washing dishes and I'll have someone's video playing, or I'll have some music playing, or what. Those are activities you can do and do something else. But when you're reading, you have to read. Or when you're writing, you have to write. But hopefully this will promote, or what I'm trying to do is to once again just promote this joy of reading among our people, and get to a place where we stop watching things so much. I have a blog post. I don't think I've posted it yet. I've already written it out. But a blog post about that very thing. And speaking of the blog post, if you go to my website, you'll not only see the books I've written, the books that are upcoming, there's a couple Easter eggs hidden on that site that are not marked. And if you look around, you'll have to poke around and guess where they are. But once you find them, you'll pretty much be like, wow, that's really something. At least my daughter thought it was pretty cool. But anyway, on my site also, it gives you a link to my blog, and it gives you a link to joining my mailing list for Reading and Writing in the Dark. If you haven't already, that's what I'm talking about, that horn and stuff. But Reading and Writing in the Dark. And with that, you also get a free download of a short story that I wrote called Moanesis the Oak Tree. And everybody who has ever read that story has given me nothing but high marks for it. And everybody except my wife, Angela, everybody who has read it said that it made them cry. Everybody. And they cry for, and the surprising thing is they cry for different reasons within the story. So that's kind of trippy to me. I shed a couple of tears actually while I wrote it, and that's just the truth of it. But I feel it's a powerful story, powerful narrative called Moanesis the Oak Tree. It is a story from the book Paradigm Void, collection of short stories. But if you want to have a copy of that short story for your very own, all you have to do is join the Reading and Writing in the Dark mailing list. And that's about it. And you get a download for that PDF of that story. So that said, I'm not going to go too long with this, but I will tell you what I'm reading presently. I'm reading, I just finished reading 2 books by Brandon Massey. One is called Nana. The other is Frenzied. Brandon Massey is a black writer, and his main characters are black, something I deeply appreciate and I like. And he writes in the realm of horror and suspense and thrillers. And his books pretty much deliver. I'm looking forward to reading his upcoming book, The X's, but I'm actually working backward a little bit through his backlog. Because I just really started reading his work, although I've been following him for close to a decade, I think. It might actually be more. But I watched him from the time that he self-published his first book, Thunderland, all the way through, doing compilations and writing all these novels and so on. So he's prolific. He has a strong narrative style. He knows his craft. He knows his craft. And so I highly suggest that anyone interested check out Brandon Massey. His website is brandonmassey.com. There's a book by T.J. Riley called The Path to Brightness. It's a fantastic book. When I read it, there were parts of it that made me uncomfortable. There were parts of it that just flowed for me, and there's like this love story in it that, to me, played out as a real love story. Because I'm not going to do any spoilers, but the book is called The Path to Brightness by T.J. Riley, and it is just a phenomenal book. And it has some genuine surprises. I remember when I was reading it, there was times that I would actually call her, and I'd be like, wait a minute, I can't believe this just happened, and so on, type of thing. And I'm finding that more and more with books. I'll be laying in bed reading, and Angela will be beside me. I'll be like, oh no, oh my goodness, oh God, what? And I'll just be reading all into it, and Angela will keep looking at me because I'm talking to the book. And I think that's one of the things that reading is about, and I think that's one of the ways that we authors hope to connect to our readers. So there's all kinds of stuff I've been reading. I have a particular thing where I just like reading things by people who I know. There's a book called by a writer, Madame Precious. She's a member of the writers group that I'm in, and she wrote a book called Loving Betrayal, and Michelle's story. Now, Michelle's story is for sale on Amazon, and so is The Path to Brightness, by the way, is on sale on Amazon, as well as Borders, and you can go to Goodreads, look at that also. Ajali Shabazz has written This Black. Madam Precious, if you're listening, I'll as a matter of fact, let me back up because I was talking about Madam Precious books. Those are also for sale on Amazon. Now, she writes like romance or like complicated relationship type books, And that's not really my preferred thing to read. But